All right, I want to welcome everyone to our live Saturday morning presentation. We're going to be doing two things today. One, I've created a new PDF that I'll show you after the first part of our presentation. The second thing is I've wanted to streamline a presentation called What is Nitric Oxide Therapy? Designed this presentation as a video. I haven't yet recorded the video. I'm actually testing it out on you today as a live audience, so I can get your feedback on it. And then if the feedback is good and you like what I'm going to show you, I'll then officially record it on Monday of this coming week. And then we'll have this available. And this will be a non-branded version of What is Nitric Oxide Therapy that you could be able to use so that when you talk to people about nitric oxide therapy and how it could address some of their cardiovascular health concerns and they're wanting more information, you can either give them a video that specifically talks to them about how nitric oxide therapy addresses that particular issue, or you can give them this general information that I'm going to show you today on what is nitric oxide therapy and use that as a presentation tool, as what we call a third-party validator to help them understand the importance of nitric oxide, leading them to ask the question, well, how can I get this nitric oxide? What do I need to do to be able to enjoy the benefits of nitric oxide therapy, which then naturally leads you into our product of choice, which is ProArch9 Plus. And so I want to go through this presentation today. I've got a slide presentation I'm going to go through. I haven't timed it out, but I think it's around 12 minutes in length. I want to make sure that it doesn't go past 15 minutes and at the same time communicate the information that we want to communicate with this whole aspect of nitric oxide. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my presentation. Welcome to our presentation on nitric oxide therapy. We are the Million Lives Project, and our goal is to help you understand how this Nobel Prize winning information can be a natural way to address most cardiovascular concerns. Whether you or a loved one suffers from high blood pressure or diabetic complications like poor wound healing, poor blood flow, and neuropathy, then this information will be helpful to you. Maybe you have a family history of strokes and heart attacks and you want to significantly reduce your risk. Or you have cholesterol concerns, cognitive function issues, and for men, sexual health issues like ED. Then this presentation is your opportunity to understand how nitric oxide therapy can be a natural and effective way to address these concerns. Now, for many, this is new information that the medical community has not shared with you. So let's validate this information. In 1998, the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to 3 American researchers who discovered how the lining of your cardiovascular system, what is called the endothelium, converts the amino acid L-arginine into nitric oxide, the master signaling molecule of your entire cardiovascular system. This set off an explosion of research in this area. There are now more than 100,000 peer-reviewed clinical studies in the area of nitric oxide therapy. Unfortunately, most people have never heard of this natural way to address cardiovascular health concerns. Thankfully, today that changes, because once you understand the proper application of this information, you'll have the ability to apply this knowledge to address the underlying cause of most cardiovascular health issues. That cause is what the medical community refers to as endothelial dysfunction, or in most cases, atherosclerosis. As you can see by the slide, damage to the lining of your cardiovascular system accumulates over time. This results in cardiovascular health concerns and a dramatic reduction in nitric oxide production. As I've already mentioned, this lining is called the endothelium. When healthy, it regulates almost all of your cardiovascular system. However, there are 4 major items that directly damage your endothelium. They are high blood pressure, high blood sugar levels, LDL cholesterol, or more specifically, very low density lipoprotein, and nicotine. Going back to our previous slide, this damage starts out as inflammation. If this inflammation is not directly dealt with, then your body treats it like an injury. Through a combination of factors, this results in what's known as plaque formation. Over time, this plaque formation grows, which reduces blood flow. Commonly called atherosclerosis, this narrowing of the artery reduces blood flow and the delivery of oxygen and nutrients, as well as the proper removal of metabolic and cellular waste products. As this plaque ages, it also becomes brittle and can more easily rupture, causing a blood clot that can lead to a heart attack or stroke. And as you can see by the slide, a drastic reduction in nitric oxide production. So the question is, why is nitric oxide so important to your cardiovascular health? And the answer is 3 key benefits. First, nitric oxide relaxes the smooth muscle of the vascular wall, causing vasodilation for improved blood flow. This is extremely beneficial for the majority of people with high blood pressure. In fact, helping your endothelium produce higher levels of nitric oxide is a natural way to bring your blood pressure back into the normal range. And since high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for strokes and heart attacks, as well as the #1 diabetic complication, this can be a natural method for addressing these issues. The second key benefit of nitric oxide is that it keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. This helps to reduce the risk for strokes or heart attacks. And the third key benefit is that when your nitric oxide levels are high enough over a long enough period of time, it can initiate repair mechanisms to heal the damage done to the endothelium. This process restores more of your endothelium back to a healthy tissue, which leads to higher levels of nitric oxide to help continue this healing process. As you can see, nitric oxide is critical to your cardiovascular health, which brings us to another key question. How do you optimize your endothelium's ability to create the needed nitric oxide? And the answer centers on 6 key ingredients. They are L-arginine, L-citrulline, red grape polyphenol extract, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, pomegranate fruit concentrate. L-arginine is always the first and most important ingredient. And as I shared with you earlier, the 1998 Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to 3 American researchers for, again, discovering how your endothelium converts the amino acid L-arginine into nitric oxide, the master signaling molecule of your entire cardiovascular system. And while L-arginine can be found in the food you eat, the easiest method to make sure you're consuming enough of this amino acid is to use a daily nutritional supplement that contains pure, free-form L-arginine that's also pharmaceutical grade. Unfortunately, the use of L-arginine by itself is not enough. The conversion of L-arginine to nitric oxide only provides a 2-hour window of improved nitric oxide production. Then within 4 to 6 hours, most people are back to their baseline levels. This results in a temporary increase in blood flow, but not long-lasting benefits. To optimize your production of nitric oxide, you must combine the L-arginine with L-citrulline. This amino acid is metabolized to yield more L-arginine, which enhances the ability of the enzymes of your endothelium to produce higher amounts of nitric oxide over a much longer period of time. Here's the metabolic pathway. And as you can see by the red circle, L-citrulline is key to keeping this nitric oxide production going. The next key ingredient is red grape polyphenol extract. It's important to have this key nutrient because it helps to reduce LDL oxidation, which typically causes vascular inflammation, leading to plaque formation and damage to your endothelium. Vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 work together to regulate calcium levels in your bloodstream. Calcium is a key ingredient because the enzymatic production of nitric oxide by your endothelium is a calcium-dependent reaction. Additionally, vitamin D3 supports healthy cardiovascular function and inflammatory response, and increasing the vitamin D levels in your bloodstream can have a profound benefit in helping to prevent diabetic complications. Now, let's look at vitamin K. You need to know that the form of vitamin K is critical. Many companies use vitamin K1 because it's significantly cheaper to use. The problem is vitamin K1 does not support vascular health and may actually interfere with blood thinning medications. Vitamin K2 is just the opposite. This correct form significantly improves arterial and cardiovascular health. It also plays an important role in preventing calcification of the arteries, as well as soft tissues like your heart, lungs, and kidneys. Finally, we have pomegranate fruit concentrate. This ingredient enhances the enzymatic activity of the endothelium, leading to higher production of nitric oxide. In peer-reviewed clinical studies, pomegranate fruit concentrate has been shown to reverse plaque formations within the vascular system because of its ability to increase nitric oxide production. This brings us to one final question. How does improved nitric oxide production benefit your cardiovascular health? To answer, let's look at several concerns. We'll start with high blood pressure, because it's the #1 risk factor for strokes and heart attacks, as well as one of the leading causes of atherosclerosis that contributes to endothelial dysfunction. As your vascular system narrows, this increases the resistance to blood flow, causing an elevation in blood pressure. To counter this, you need to reduce this resistance to blood flow. Nitric oxide does this by relaxing the smooth muscle of your vascular wall, which lowers the resistance to blood flow. For many, this one simple step helps to return their blood pressure back into the normal range. Another concern is cognitive function, especially as it applies to Alzheimer's disease. Every study that we know of that shows improvement in blood flow to the brain improves cognitive function. And the bottom line to nitric oxide therapy is improved blood flow. Plus, there is emerging science that shows that endothelial dysfunction plays a contributing factor in the start and progression of Alzheimer's disease, which means anything that you can do to improve the health of your endothelium to optimize nitric oxide production for improved blood flow can significantly reduce your risk for cognitive issues. For men, nitric oxide plays a key role in sexual health. A common concern for men over the age of 40 is ED or erectile dysfunction. There are two forces at work, vasodilation and vasoconstriction. For a man to have an erection, he needs nitric oxide to start and maintain the vasodilation side of the equation. If his nitric oxide levels are too low, no erection. If his nitric oxide levels are reduced, then he can most likely start the erection but not maintain it. And the reason why is this counterbalancing force, which is vasoconstriction. Without this, men would have an erection all day long, which would be embarrassing and uncomfortable. The way that Viagra and Cialis work is that they use a chemical to disable the vasoconstriction side of the equation. This works until a man's nitric oxide levels in their bloodstream get so low that they can no longer create the needed vasodilation. This means drugs like Viagra do not address the underlying cause, which for most men is endothelial dysfunction and lack of sufficient nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide therapy can help address this issue by optimizing nitric oxide production. This leads to increasing baseline levels of nitric oxide, which can then initiate repair mechanisms to heal damage to the endothelium. This returns more of this tissue back to a healthy functioning tissue, producing more nitric oxide. For men, the result will be more morning erections like they had when they were younger. Improved nitric oxide production also benefits athletic performance. This applies to both men and women. As blood flow improves, so does the delivery of oxygen and nutrients. This helps athletes work out at a higher aerobic capacity. Aerobic respiration produces 18 times more energy. Plus, it limits the accumulation of lactic acid, which is the limiting factor for most athletes in both their workouts and athletic performance. This brings us to the end of our presentation. If what we've shared with you makes sense, then please contact the person who shared this video with you. They can help you apply this information so that you and your loved ones can enjoy the cardiovascular health benefits of nitric oxide therapy. They can also help you discover our product of choice for optimizing nitric oxide production. And so that is the slide presentation that I put together to create a video called What is Nitric Oxide Therapy? Use that video as a general process for helping to educate people in this area of nitric oxide. Now I'm looking at the bottom of my computer screen and I see we're at 9:16 in time. I don't remember exactly when we started, so the presentation is most likely somewhere between 12 to 14 minutes in length. I didn't do the official timing on it, but I didn't want the presentation to go longer than that. You'll also notice that I don't use any testimonials in this presentation. I chose to take those testimonials out on some previous stuff that we've done, simply because I just want to focus on answering the question, what is nitric oxide therapy? And leave out any kinds of testimonials from that standpoint. Testimonials are things that you could put into your email that you might send to someone. So for example, say I'm talking to a person by the name of John, and I've asked John, we got into a conversation about John's health, and he's dealing with some cardiovascular health issues. And I asked John the question, John, have you ever heard of nitric oxide therapy as a natural way to address some of these things that you're dealing with, these cardiovascular concerns that you have? And if John responds, I've never heard of this, and we get into a conversation, he asks, what is nitric oxide therapy? Well, John, I've got a great video that will do a much better job answering that question than what I could. Would it be all right if I send you that video? I can put a link to it in an email and just send it to you. And if I get John's positive response, I can do an email, something like this. Dear John, great talking with you today. Sorry that you're suffering from some of the cardiovascular health issues that you have. But like we talked about, nitric oxide therapy could be a natural way to address most of those cardiovascular concerns. You mentioned you have high blood pressure. Well, one of my clients, their blood pressure was 160/90, and they applied nitric oxide therapy, took their blood pressure from 160/90 down to 112/68. Now, I shared with you that I had a link to a video that will help educate you in this area. Here's the link. And then I would have the link to the video in my email that they could click on, and then would take them to this upcoming video that I'm planning to put up on YouTube, on our Synergy Family website or YouTube channel. And then what you can do is you can send that email, whatever close you want to do to it, and you can send that email and then follow up with John. I would follow up with John, make sure he got the email. Did he have a chance to watch the video? Did he have any questions on terms of, on what nitric oxide could do for him? And let's say that John has an interest. And again, let's understand that we live in today's world where, like I live in Chicago here. I could talk to someone else in Chicago, and they could only be like maybe 15 miles away from me. But it might take me 45 minutes to get to that individual based upon what traffic patterns are going to that person's location. 45 minutes to go see them, 45 minutes to come back home, or if we meet someplace. And so what you could do is do exactly what I'm doing with you today. You can go to Zoom and you can get a free account with Zoom. And I could say to John, let's meet on Zoom. I'm going to send you my Zoom link, and let's determine a day and time that we can get together, and then I can show you some things that I think you'll help you better understand and resonate. And when you set up that appointment and you meet John on Zoom, then one of the things that you can do is this new PDF that we created to help take the information that I shared with you in the video and condense it down to just one page. And so this is the power of nitric oxide therapy. Nitric oxide therapy was validated in 1998 when the Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to 3 American researchers who discovered how the lining of the cardiovascular system, what is called the endothelium, converts the amino acid L-arginine into this miracle molecule. This set off an explosion of research. More than 100,000 clinical studies have now been done on how nitric oxide therapy benefits vascular health. Benefit number 1. Nitric oxide relaxes the smooth muscle of the vascular wall for improved blood flow. Benefit number 2, nitric oxide keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together to naturally reduce the risk for strokes and heart attacks. Benefit number 3, when nitric oxide levels are high enough, they can initiate repair mechanisms to heal damage done to the vascular system. So those are the 3 benefits that were shared in the video. So these 3 benefits help to reinforce information that the person saw in the video. And then as you want to add information, you can certainly do that. So for example, if I'm talking to John and John's got a high blood pressure issue, when I talk about benefit number 1, nitric oxide relaxes the smooth muscle of the vascular wall for improved blood flow. John, that is a natural way for people with high blood pressure to see their blood pressure return back to the normal range. Like I shared with you in my email, one of my clients, which is just one out of many, who's experienced significant reduction in their blood pressure based upon nitric oxide therapy. Her blood pressure was 160/90, and nitric oxide therapy took it to 112/68. And it's been like that now for over 9 years. I've got other clients who have seen the same types of results. And then you can go into benefit number 2. Maybe in terms of talking, they've got a family history of strokes and heart attacks. My dad died at the age of 60, well, he wasn't quite 68, of a massive heart attack. At the time, I had no idea about nitric oxide therapy. Now I do. Unfortunately, my dad is not alive for me to be able to share this information with him and help him apply nitric oxide therapy to improve his, because he had high blood pressure, and I'm sure he had high cholesterol levels and just a whole bunch of other things. So I don't have that opportunity to help my dad because I didn't know the information. But I do know the information today, so there's a lot of people that I am able to help not go down the road that my dad went down. And then nitric oxide benefit number 3. Again, you can begin to use this diagram here to show people how as they age, they also see a reduction of nitric oxide production due to damage done to the vascular system, specifically damage to the endothelium. Well, when we start nourishing that endothelium with the right ingredients, as we talked about in the video, we can begin to initiate repair mechanisms to heal that damage, to return the endothelium to a more healthy state, which you can see will also then increase nitric oxide production, which then helps to continue that healing process. So again, using the video to help educate yourself as well as the client that you're talking to, and then using this PDF. And again, I decided in the video presentation not to talk about Progeny Plus, but I did introduce our product of choice at the end, kind of like a last line, so that a person, it plants an idea in that person's mind that there might be a product out there, and that if I get asked, or I can use this PDF because this is a 2-page PDF, I can then do our product of choice. Our product, John, our product of choice to harness these benefits of nitric oxide is what's called Pro Arginine Plus from Synergy Worldwide. And John, here's the reasons why. Because when you look at the marketplace, John, you're going to get confused because there's hundreds of products out there all claiming to be the best. But here's why we've chosen here's why I've chosen nitric oxide or ProOxygen Plus to be my nitric oxide supplement. First off, it's recognized by the physician's desk reference. Ever since 2014, ProOxygen Plus has been recognized by the medical community as the highest quality L-arginine supplement in the world. I see I've got a spelling mistake there on L-arginine, so I'll have to correct that and change the PDF. And so in talking with John, you know, again, John, this is not me telling you that ProOxygen Plus is the best and highest quality L-arginine supplement in the world. This is actually the medical community. In fact, John, ProOxygen Plus is the only L-arginine supplement actually recognized by the medical community. And one of the reasons why is it's clinically proven. It's clinically proven to produce higher amounts of nitric oxide and do it more rapidly than L-arginine alone. And it's also clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation, which is the leading cause of most cardiovascular health concerns. If you remember back from the video and from this presentation here, what was the cause of plaque formation? It's vascular inflammation. When not treated properly, leads to plaque formation that grows over time, causing problems. Well, the nice thing about ProOxygen Plus is it's actually clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation. And then this product comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. They have 262 verified quality assurance steps that go into the manufacturing of this product. And because of this, Synergy Worldwide guarantees your results. That if you're not happy with the product, then you can return it for a full refund on the cost of the product. And so the PDF is, again, designed to be able to highlight what you had a person see in the video, or even if you didn't use the video and you're sitting down with a person and they're asking you about nitric oxide and what nitric oxide can do for them, you can pull this PDF out and you can do a simple presentation. Well, you know, that's a great question. Unfortunately, most people like yourself don't know about nitric oxide therapy. In 1998, the Nobel Prize was awarded to 3 American researchers who discovered how this lining of your cardiovascular system, what is called the endothelium, converts this amino acid called L-arginine into nitric oxide, or what's been labeled the miracle molecule. And that set off an explosion of research. There's more than 100,000 clinical studies on how nitric oxide benefits cardiovascular health, yet you have never heard of it. And I can't tell you why. I don't know why the medical community doesn't want you to know about this. And if it wasn't for manufacturers who've begun to understand the power of nitric oxide therapy to improve people's circulation, most people in America would never know anything about this. But here's what nitric oxide can do for you. It relaxes the smooth muscle of the vascular wall for improved blood flow. Now that directly benefits people with high blood pressure because typically for high blood pressure, their vascular wall is restricted. And so it increases resistance to blood flow, your blood pressure goes up. How do you stop that or eliminate that or reverse that? You need nitric oxide to relax the smooth muscle of your vascular wall, which then reduces resistance to blood flow and your blood pressure goes back to normal. I can't tell you the number of clients that I have that have seen that happen, where they've been able to get off all their medications for high blood pressure or substantially reduce their medications or not have to go on medication to begin with, all because of nitric oxide and how it relaxes the smooth muscle of their vascular wall and brings their blood pressure back into the normal range. The other benefit of nitric oxide is that it keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. So it's a natural way to reduce risk for strokes and heart attacks. And when we begin to nourish that lining of your vascular system with the right ingredients, to produce higher levels of nitric oxide over a longer period of time, they can then initiate repair mechanisms, which then heals damage to your vascular system and returns this lining back to a more healthy functioning tissue. And as you can see by the picture, as I improve the health of my lining of my vascular system, my nitric oxide production goes up, which then helps me create more nitric oxide to continue this healing process. I've seen this help people with diabetic complications. I've seen it help people with wound healing problems. It applies to cognitive function. For men, it applies to sexual health, because as men, we can't have an erection without nitric oxide. So the higher our nitric oxide levels are, the better the erection. I mean, even athletic performance. If I increase nitric oxide, I improve blood flow, I improve delivery of oxygen, I can work and produce more energy and less waste products like lactic acid, which is always the limiting factor in athletic performance. Whether you're training or you're performing, lactic acid is always your limiting factor. And if I can increase circulation and deliver more oxygen, I can reduce that, give you more energy and reduce lactic acid accumulation so that you can work at a better and higher intensity. So again, you can use this PDF as a standalone presentation, whether they've seen the video or not. And when it comes time to, well, how do I do this? Well, John, there are hundreds of products in the marketplace, products that all claim to be the best. Well, our product of choice, or my product of choice, however you want to phrase that, is ProArginine Plus. You can share what it's done for you, your testimonial of what ProArginine Plus has done to help you improve your cardiovascular health. Or you could share testimonials. I use this product personally. I've seen significant improvements in my athletic performance because of it. And I used this product for my wife, whose blood pressure was 160 over 90, and took her blood pressure down to 112 over 68, because it better vasodilated her system and improved her blood flow. And the nice thing about this, John, is it's recognized by the medical community. It's been listed now for 6 straight years, ever since 2014 in the Physician's Desk Reference. And here's the exact first line quote: ProArginine Plus is the highest quality L-arginine supplement in the world. John, that's not me telling you this. This is the medical community telling you that this is the highest quality L-arginine supplement in the world. The other nice thing about it is Synergy has put it in clinical study. And so it's clinically proven to produce higher levels of nitric oxide and do it more rapidly than L-arginine alone. But it's also clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation, which is the leading cause of most cardiovascular concerns. Going back to this little image here, how does this plaque form? It first starts out as inflammation. Inflammation that, if not dealt with, the body treats as an injury and creates plaque. And over time, that plaque continues to build. And then the company does 262 verified quality assurance steps. So I know that when I take this product, or all my clients that take this product, are always going to get the same reproducible results. And the nice thing about it, Synergy is so confident in their product design, in the quality assurance steps that they put into their product, that they actually guarantee this product for 120 days. That if you decide to buy this product, you can put it to the test. And if it doesn't help you achieve the kind of results that you're looking for, then we can return it for a full refund on the cost of the product. So again, this whole aspect is being able to have some presentation tools as third-party validators, as well as guides, to help you in the process of sharing information with people, that when you create interest in nitric oxide therapy, you can either send them to a video, have them watch a video when you're with them, maybe on a Zoom presentation, you could have them watch it on a Zoom presentation. There's just a little technique that you got to remember to do. If you show a video on Zoom, you got to make sure that the audio on your computer can also be heard by the other person. So it's a little technical thing that you have to click on to be able to do that. Or you can show this PDF either in person or again through a Zoom presentation, where you can sit down with a person in the comfort of their home, in the comfort of your home, through a Zoom platform, and help them understand how nitric oxide therapy can be a benefit to them. So with that said, do I have any questions from anyone with regards to the slide presentation that I showed you or this PDF? Everyone is muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself to either ask your question, or if you have an observation or a comment that you would like to make, please, unmute yourself and let me hear your comments.
How soon can we get the PDF?
The PDF will be available on Tuesday when it goes out into the newsletter. Plus the PDF will be put up onto, plus the PDF is going to go up onto our Synergy family. So if you click on our Synergy family, and I'll most likely have the PDF up on Monday. So if you go onto our Synergy family and you scroll down to the icon called Resources, the first half, when you get on Resources, all about these are tools and resource tools that we have that help us in our presentation of nitric oxide therapy. And I will add the PDF in this open space right here. So the PDF that I showed you, this PDF here, I'll put into this open space here, so that when you click on it, it'll open up into a separate window that will have a link to this PDF. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anyone else with any questions or comments about anything that I've shared with you today?
Hi, Dan. It's Donald. Very good morning again. A very timely video presentation, I might add, because, and I'm glad you took out the testimonies, because it speaks directly to the condition. And because a lot of the videos that's on YouTube that I see, they address the situation as opposed to the product information. And in fact, I'm reading a book now, Beat the Heart Attack Gene, by Bradley Bale and Amy Duneen. And they do an excellent job in talking about conditionality and separating, the other stuff. So this is a pointed video that as you indicated, doesn't have all the other stuff, which we can add or we can talk about as we share the information. And I just want to point out that in that book, it speaks to the ACE inhibitor that addresses nitric oxide therapy. So to me, this is a twist that I can use from the book, Beat the Heart Attack Gene, and that also talks about nitric oxide therapy. So excellent video. Good.
Well, I'll have the video ready for Tuesday, as well as it'll be in fact, I'll most likely, let me close off here for a second and go back there.
Dan, if I may just add, one of the other things you mentioned diabetes, but what this specialist talks about a lot is insulin resistance, which leads to diabetes. So there's several people who have, since insulin resistance takes a while before it turns, I mean, the science is now there that you have insulin resistance for about between 8 and 10 years before you get diabetes. So some people doesn't relate to diabetes because they're not hearing that they have diabetes, but in fact they have insulin resistance. And so what happens is, or it can be said, is that it addresses the condition before they get diabetes. So this is a good subject to introduce, insulin resistance, or substitute. In some cases, you talk about diabetes a bit and not mentioning insulin resistance. So it would be good if you would talk about at least one time insulin resistance.
Okay. Bob and Betsy, thank you for the kind comments. This video here, going back to the resource page, I'll change out this video here for the new video, and I'll most likely do a little rearranging so that you've got the what is nitric oxide therapy video, and then underneath it would be the PDF. So I'll take this Cologne video and move it over to the right. So when you go on Monday, there'll be a little bit more of a rearrangement in terms of this information. But the video and the PDF you'll all be able to find it on the resource page of our Synergy family. So again, I've got some new people are on the call today. We've created a website for our Synergy family that hosts all your training material and your resource tools. So it's a very simple URL, oursynergyfamily.com. When you go there, you can click on the resource icon, opens up this window, and again, here are your main tools, and we're going to update this video with what I showed you today. We're going to have a PDF that I showed you today with the correction that I need to make with regards to on the second page where I've got L-arginine spelled wrong. L-arginine is not, I forgot an N there. So I'll get that corrected and put this back up. But everything will be on that page on Monday. And then when we send out our newsletter on Tuesday, again, all the links will be in that newsletter too. Anyone else with any comments or questions before we say goodbye?
Thank you for a stellar presentation.
Thank you, Ted. You're welcome. Anyone else before we go?
Thanks again, Dan, for all you do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think that was Edgar, right?
Yes, Edgar.
Yes, Edgar. And so Edgar, you're the one who asked, and so everyone, Edgar got me to look at the presentation and how I could streamline the presentation for Edgar to use and some stuff. So Edgar, I want to thank you because you asking me helped me go back in and look at some of the work that I've done and streamline it, change some things around, make it what I think will be a more powerful presentation. So I appreciated it. And we'll talk more on Monday when we meet.
Okay, good enough.
Just let me know the time that you want to meet.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
It's been a slight change, but I'll give you a call.
Okay. And you can text me too, either one.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else before we say goodbye?
Dan, what's the best way to get a hold of you, either text or through Facebook? This is Bill.
Bill, always texting me will get a faster response because I'm not a person who typically goes on Facebook.
Okay.
So what happens is I don't know, like if a person direct messages me on Facebook, I typically don't see that until I check my spam on my Yahoo account because that's where all those things end up going. So it takes me longer to respond to a direct message on Facebook than if you just texted me.
And I have your number, I think, is it your number on the website?
Should be 630-936-8079.
One more time, 630.
630-936-8079.
Okay.
And that remind me, I also put in here spacing that if people want to actually print off these flyers, you can easily get stickers, labels from Vistaprint that have your name and phone number. And if you have a Synergy website, you know, everyone who's a Synergy distributor has a Synergy website. You can also, on the Synergy websites, create your own URL, you can go to GoDaddy and get your unique URL and have it linked to your Synergy website. So you could create a label, and you could put, I left space on here where you can easily put a label that has your name, phone number, and if you have a URL website address you want to send people to, all on that label, and then just put the label on the flyer. And there's space down here at the bottom to do the same thing on the second page. So you can also that way personalize these flyers, that if you hand it to someone and they don't necessarily want to particularly buy at that point in time, at least they've got your name and phone number and website address that would take them into your Synergy your Synergy website, your replicated website from Synergy, in case they want to buy the product or at least talk to you. Anything else before we say goodbye? All right, I want to thank you for your time today. We'll be meeting next week. I'm going to be showing you another tool that's been up for a while, but a lot of people have forgotten that it exists, and it's a significant tool that will help you to address people's health concerns and then properly understand what Synergy products will help address those concerns. And we'll talk more about that next Saturday. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed weekend. We'll see you next Saturday.